Hello and welcome to another Java tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to continue our discussion on LaTeX for Java developers. And so far, we have seen basic concepts of LaTeX in Java, such as LaTeX commands, how to create them in Java. And then we looked at also a basic introduction to LaTeX environments and how we can implement them in Java. And now let's look at a class that would take care of creating the .tex file and feeding it to the PDF LaTeX to eventually create the PDF file, right? So we start with the LatexRenderer class in Java. It will invoke PDF LaTeX typesetter by default. We can call any other typesetter, and I showed you in the past lectures how to check what kind of LaTeX typesetters your LaTeX installation supports. We can have a method to set the name of the typesetter, and a structure of a LaTeX text file is again we've seen this a couple of times, but it's good to review. We have a command. The very first line is always a command that tells PDF LaTeX or any LaTeX typesetter what kind of template we're going to use for a document. And article, for example, one of the predefined templates. So I'm going to also write this here. This is a document template. And then before beginning our document environment, and we said that the main text always goes inside, anything related to the main text goes inside this document environment. And again, a document environment is a LaTeX environment, and any LaTeX environment starts with a begin command and the name of the environment, and then finishes with the end command with the name of the environment, right? So any environment starts with a begin and ends with end, right? And main document contains the element of the main text like figures, raw text, equations, or any type of stuff, tables, right? And then after the document class and before the document environment, we have preamble, and inside the preamble we usually put the packages that we want to ask LaTeX to use, and also if needed we can also configure those packages, or we can define new commands, right, for more automation, right? So packages, new commands, and configuration of packages. And a package basically it's a very simple LaTeX command, and follows the LaTeX command structure, which is / the name of the command. In this case is use packages, and then it can have options in the square brackets right after the command, and then it takes some arguments. Typically packages only take one argument, which is the name of the package. All right. And let's head to Eclipse and try to quickly implement this package. So going back to Eclipse, to our LaTeX for J Java project. So far in the base we defined a command class environment. We also defined a specific environment, which was equation environment. And we said that the way this works is that we create a generic environment or command, and then we can inherit from them to add a package, right? So to add a specific environment or command. In this case, for example, I want to create a new class called package. All right. And we're going to inherit from the generic command, so extends command, because adding a package or telling the LaTeX to use a package is equivalent to issuing a command, and the name of the command is always constant. So the specific thing about a package class is that it's not as generic as the command. We say that command has a name, right? And basically let me write this as a comment. So the format is very specific. For a package we say use package, so that's the name, and then options, and then arg, and arg is the name of package, right? Name of package. So basically we're going to tell it the name of the package. So name here is the name of the command. So what we're going to do, we're going to just pass a string, or maybe we can just have an array of strings as a var arg, for example, right? So these are the package name, package r, or we can just I don't think there is any package that requires more than one argument. So for now, we can stick to one string. So package name. And then when we call the superclass command constructor, we takes the name of the command. The name of the command is very specific, right? It's use package with a backslash. And we have to also escape this backslash. And the args, was just the basically it's the name of the package. So here we just pass in the package name. All right. So this is the structure of our package, and then everything else is the same. All right. Let's see what is the problem here. Extends command. We have our package, right? And then we're calling the superclass. Cannot be okay. So I don't think there is a issue here, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So this is our package, and obviously we can have a function or method that tries to configure the package if we need to. So that's something that we can come back to it later in the future. But for now, we can go and test our package. So let me create a class called test package. Let's have a main method, and here test1. And inside test1, I'm going to have public static void test1. And here I'm just going to say var package1 or p1 is a new package. And so what's the name of the package? Let's say we want to use AMS, American Math Society Math. All right. And then let's do a sysout on this package. And let's right click and run this, and use right now we have a backslash. So let's see. I guess let's so we have to escape this backslash and then the problem here is that we are getting 2 backslashes. So let me go back to the command. Oh, that's because, all right, so the name was okay, so we shouldn't add the backslash here, right? We just give the name of the command, and in the command, if you recall, we said it automatically appends this backslash, so we don't need to worry about that. So if I run this again with package, so we have this use package options, and if you recall, our command has this add option function or options. In general, we can pass an array of strings. So let's say AMS Math usually doesn't have much options, but we can say let's say option 1 and then option 2, and these will be inserted inside the square brackets as a options, and they are separated by comma. So let's test this, and again that works fine. So again the good thing here is that once we have a base class that allows us to configure or build a command, right, and then have a base class that allows us to build a environment, then the rest is very easy. We can just inherit from them and specialize for what kind of command we're going to use, because the whole LaTeX is about issuing commands to LaTeX, so we tell it what to do, or creating environments, and inside those environments we can do some stuff, right? And right now the skeleton of our Java project is almost done. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our PowerPoint slides, and let's look at LatexRenderer. So we start with the LatexRenderer class in Java. It will invoke PDF typesetter by default. So if I create a public class LatexRenderer, And again, the typesetter is the LaTeX tool that we're going to call from the command line, right? So the name of the typesetter, number of runs. So sometimes, and we will see this when, sometimes we need to run PDF LaTeX or any typesetter more than one time. And usually that's the case when, so you see when you call the PDF LaTeX on a text file, it goes through your document and creates an auxiliary file. And I mentioned in the past lectures how the auxiliary file works. So auxiliary file is basically PDF LaTeX takes a note in first pass of your text document, text file. PDF LaTeX takes a note of what needs to be done. And then in the second pass, when the auxiliary file is done, PDF LaTeX most of the time doesn't need to do a second pass through your auxiliary file, because in the first pass it can generate your PDF file. But sometimes there are very specialized functions that need to be done. For example, creating a table of content. So PDF LaTeX needs to call, for example, another tool to create the table of content, or references, bibliography, citations, right? These are something that other tools inside your LaTeX package are responsible for creating, right? So in the first pass, usually you don't see the citations. They all come out as question marks, because in the first pass, PDF LaTeX just creates the PDF document, it creates the auxiliary file and takes a note of what needs to be done. That's why sometimes we need to call the PDF LaTeX more than one time on the PDF, right? And I'll show you a few examples on why we need that. So we can create a LaTeX renderer, and again, the goal is that to make this LaTeX renderer as a base for really creating a specialized LaTeX basically classes. And for that, we create this LaTeX renderer as a very low level API, which means you can add any text, for example, to your LaTeX document, etc. So the constructor can just accept the name of the typesetter that is going to be called for LaTeX and the number of runs. And then if we can also have a LaTeX renderer that doesn't take any arguments, and by default it's going to call the PDF LaTeX with just one run, right? And then what we need to do, we need to create a public function or method which is called render, and that's where the magic happens. That's where the PDF LaTeX renderer creates your document class, issues a document class command, adds all the packages as preamble, any extra stuff that goes into preamble, for example, configuring those packages, and then adds the main text. This is the document environment, right? Document environment, and then it runs the command line to call PDF LaTeX or any typesetter. It has to take care of that. And then we've seen that when we run LaTeX, it creates, for example, some extra files that after the PDF file is created, we don't need this log or auxiliary file, right? So we may also want to clean up those files and not save them, right? Because at the end we need the PDF file, right? So the render method should call the PDF or any LaTeX typesetter that we choose from the command line, right? That's why it has to be on your path. And then we can also set it up so that it can create a for example a working directory. So we have to tell PDF LaTeX where to save where the text file is, right? And then where to put the output PDF file. So set output path is a candidate for a method that we can add to the LaTeX renderer. And then set output name. This is the name of the output PDF or the text file. So when we feed a text file to the PDF LaTeX, by default the name of the output PDF file is also the same as the name of the text file. All right. So that's the thing. So in the next lecture, I'm going to show you, first of all, the most important part is how to call PDF LaTeX from the command line inside Java, right? So we are inside Java. We want to create a text file and call the PDF LaTeX and feed that text file to PDF LaTeX to generate the PDF file. So in the next lecture, I'll show you how we can achieve this goal. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.